Thank you, Per. It's a pleasure to be here. Greetings, everybody. So, a little bit about myself. Per already said. I'm living in Norway for 15 years. I used to work for 3 Fortune 100 companies. Now I work for the fourth one. I'm not really feeling too much qualified to talk about OT security because I only work with OT for 1 year. But previously, 20 years in IT gives me a good perspective. And I work for a big company. I talk to people in the company. I realize that the challenges I face is not unique to me. It's a pattern. It's the same problems they have been facing all the time. I work with international vendors, which work with all other companies, and the pattern they bring to me or what they want to do is alarming to me. So I understand it's a bigger picture. And if anybody in the audience have a different opinion or a better knowledge, please challenge me. We can have questions. I hope we have a good questionnaire after the topic. So my main interest is Active Directory, PAM, remote access, and I have been working with AD a lot. So I increased my area of interest by all the topics around AD. So I'm really interested in the whole infrastructure. In order to protect AD, I'm looking at all the parts of infrastructure from remote access, network, etc. And that's how I want to secure it. And besides it, my main hobby, or second hobby is, my main hobby is work. My second hobby is doing demonstrations. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, we're doing it daily in Oslo. I'm doing it 4 days a week on average, standing near the parliament with the microphone, explaining the geopolitical situation, what's going on, why people have to bother. So, yeah, that's what I do. So, jumping to conclusion, TLDR for those who don't want to listen to the whole presentation. What I realize is OT is IT 20 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago, but let's be mild, 20 years ago. Often antivirus is not used. Sometimes it's not possible to use antivirus. Sometimes they just don't want to use it. Firewalls, again, very limited. Sometimes it's not possible because OT has sometimes different protocols. They may use Ethernet cable, but there is different protocols. It's a SCADA, it's BACnet over Ethernet. It may not be using IP, TCP/IP protocol. It may be just using Ethernet. So when you plug it into firewalls, Palo Alto doesn't know how to deal with it. They cannot check this traffic. So basically, OT lives still in a paradigm of perimeter defense. Something that for IT is we never do it anymore. And for OT, it is a standard. That's not the worst thing. But yeah, I'll go through it more. When I was studying in the university, I was studying for control system for thermal power plants. And I have been theoretically studying the theory of SCADA systems as an air gap network with operators outside of network, outside of internet, air gap systems. So for 20 years, 25 years, things evolved. Now, probably thermal power plants, nuclear power plants are still air-gapped. I believe this. But most other things are not. So Max has shown the new building that is being built. I'm now involved in the construction of a building, and I see how the different vendors are doing things there. Yeah, I'll talk about it later. So you may want to check how they're building the building and how they do the construction work there. So for IT remote access, what we do usually have? We have a PAM system for secure remote desktop connection and SSH. We have session recording. We have sometimes manual approval that you have to check out the account before you get access. We have browser sandboxing for HTTPS. We have DLP. We have not just antivirus, but XDR on the endpoint. And we have, when a vendor comes and say, I want to have direct access to a server in your infrastructure or to a database, you say, sorry, that's not possible. Like, are you crazy? Direct access to a server in my infrastructure. That's no go. Well, OT. Vendors say, well, we need VPN and nothing else. And we want to connect to the PLC, to the controller in your environment directly from our central infrastructure. Let's put a router. We have a box. Let's just connect it to your network when you need us, and we will connect from internet to your network, to your devices, and we'll manage it. And when you say, no, we cannot do it like this. Oh, but we don't know how to do it any other way. And this is a company which provides a support for multiple customers. So how do they do it for other customers? Vendors demand the use of shared accounts and fake multi-factor authentication. So they say, we have hundreds of people across the world who may need to connect to your system. So we cannot create individual accounts. Let's have a shared user. Maybe. How about second factor? Oh, we have a solution for this. We have a phone emulator that we run centrally so that everybody has access to the phone emulator. So we support Microsoft Authenticator. Where is the second factor? I don't know. It's, yeah. So fake multi-factor authentication is something that they learned how to build. I love this. So preparing for presentation, I checked one of the vendors and found a SharePoint site open to public without authentication. And they had folders with documentation. Documentation for this device was not there. So I uploaded a text file into the folder asking if maybe they want to check access to the SharePoint. Then I found this quote from the vendor of this network device. So it's a network device which claims that our solution eliminates human error in cybersecurity configuration. Every device includes automated Linux IP table-based firewalls at the edge, rendering hub-LAN connected devices invisible to internet. So they say, you buy our device, you plug it in the network, and it's super secure. So when OT vendors come and look at me, say, well, but we use super secure solution. Why don't you want to plug our box in your network? I don't want to. Yeah. So when this big international company tells me that they have 100 people and they want to use shared accounts, I think, okay, maybe they have some good system that is checking out username and password, and maybe I should trust them. I don't know. And then I ask, okay, do you have SOC 2 certification? Big international companies say, no, we don't have it. Of course, I don't ask it from small companies. I ask, do you have a certificate? Yes, we have a certificate. Can you provide it? Yes, here it is. And if you don't know, the most important part in the ISO certification is the statement of applicability. It lists what exactly is actually certified and what's not. So in the list of statement of applicability of this very big company, remote access to their systems was not mentioned. So they have a certificate, but they certified absolutely different things, not remote access to their system. So I cannot trust them that they do it right, or I'm pretty sure they do it wrong. So I'm doing the presentation in reverse. What is OT? For many people, like me, working in IT most of the time, it's difficult to understand it. And yeah, it's difficult really to answer this question. So this definition from Cisco, I think it's quite good. So it's the hardware and software that monitors and controls devices, processes, infrastructure, and used in industrial setting. Combines technologies of networking, information processing, blah, blah, blah. So basically, when we talk about OT, we usually think about these devices, controllers, that are placed in the system. It's not only the controllers. This is what's called Purdue model, SANS Institute Purdue model, or also called PERA model. And this has been de facto a standard last years. This is a classic presentation or a table that, as I understand, it's not available as a reference design. I had to paint, do it myself, but you find it, most cases, it's the same. So level 0 contains actual robots, sensors, drivers, actuators. It's like most physical layer. Level 1 is controllers. PLC is programmable logical controller. It's a computer. It's a computer fit for purpose. So often it is less powerful than this Pi mini computer. It may have 1 megahertz speed. It can have kilohertz like speed, because if you need to measure temperature once in a minute, you really don't need a powerful processor for this. So PLC is a small computer. Microcontrollers, same, relays, terminal units. Level 2 is something more with human interface, something more advanced, like servers, etc. Level 3, again, more human interfaces, more servers, management server, and control Active Directory. And this is what I will focus on quite a little bit more. That's the most important part in this story. Then you have IT-OT boundary, which they say must be protected by the firewall. And then you have standard company network. You can have local workstation, Active Directory replica, enterprise network, etc. Yes. So even Microsoft doesn't get it right. This is a print screen from the Defender documentation. And Microsoft say, well, this domain controller, it's not OT. It says it is IT because, oh, it's a server. Well, no, that's not how Purdue model is designed. And different pages on Microsoft, they draw this line correctly here. And again, it's a pattern. There is a problem here. So, imagine, and again, let me just make a pause. In trying to understand the problem, whatever it is, technical problem, political problem, it's best to approach the problem from different perspectives. Try to think about the problem from a perspective of a different person, on a different position, on the other side. Then you can understand the problem more objectively, or try to. So, if you think about big enterprise, it has different facilities, and each facility, according to Purdue model, need to have their own Active Directories. The question is, can we have one Active Directory for all the facilities? Maybe we have 100 facilities. Do we have 100 Active Directories for this? So, one big and well-respected company, consultancy company, said, Of course, just have one Active Directory for all your facilities, because you just need to have different Active Directory from enterprise. But it defeats the purpose of separation between enterprise and facilities. And a director of the facility in Norway would know that a facility in Colombia will be hacked, and he will be hacked as well. Doesn't make sense. So, to me, you cannot have one Active Directory for all the facilities. You must have each separate Active Directory. You have 100 facilities. You really need to have 100 Active Directories. That's the cost of security. But it's complicated, right? To maintain it properly, to manage all of this. So, do I miss a slide? No, I don't. Why do we need Active Directory? I have been assigned to Active Directory operations team 15 years ago, and I thought it's boring. I know Active Directory. Come on, everybody can create a group and the user. I learned so much that I think it's fascinating. It's like I love Active Directory. But for any enterprise which can live without it, don't use Active Directory. If you can avoid it at all costs. So my first approach, let's not use Active Directory, like throw it away, let's use anything else. We need a server, just let's put a server connected to the cloud, whatever. Linux, I'm sorry, I don't know Linux, and they don't support Linux. But as it comes, most of the OT vendors, they expect you to have Active Directory. They have a database, they have an application server, and for them to work together, they need Active Directory. They cannot work otherwise. Unfortunately, then they have two servers, and again, they cannot work otherwise. So I challenge them, why? Maybe we can avoid Active Directory, work group servers. No can do. That's very unfortunate. User authentication, such thing as OIDC. They don't know what it is. Or, okay, they know what it is. Most of them don't support it. So, user authentication, yes, LDAP. Thank you. Kerberos, thank you. If we need LDAP or Kerberos, then we need to bring a server close to users to have to be in the same domain. And that's a problem. In some cases, you can kind of compromise on this if this server doesn't need to talk to PLC controllers, etc. But in general, these vendors, they don't do authentication properly. One vendor told me, I asked, how do you keep the password if the password is locally? Well, I check, yeah, we keep them locally and it's hashed. Well, how? SHA-1 hash. Good. Solved it? No. Great. Amazing work. Others just don't hash them. Plain text. Why bother? So, yeah. So now let's take perspective of a big OT supplier. They have lots of customers around the world, lots of factories. Their PLCs are everywhere. They have a central server with all their tools, with all their config. So as they explained to me, it's not that it's just a configuration that they push to controller. They have to actually take a code, compile it, and put a compiled program on a controller based on a controller version, etc. And it requires a lot of tools. First they said, one company said, oh, we need like 30 applications to be installed. So we cannot do it on a server in your environment. Later, we figured out 5 applications will just be enough. But initially they had a push. And I understand them, how to maintain all these connections, all these controllers. You need to have a central place, and then you push everything, and then you are good. So this is a problem. The approach of OT vendor, approach of the company are completely different. We cannot combine them. We cannot find a solution that will suit both. If you let each OT vendor have direct access to your environment and the controllers, you lose complete control. And you cannot really trust them, because these are the people with wrenches who kind of fix stuff, and like all these computers, it's necessary evil for them. They just, they would love to avoid it. So you want to have session isolation, right, between the vendors and facilities. That's the only thing you can do, and it doesn't suit vendors. So here we have a help from NIS2, which actually solved it for us. At least in Norway, they said that for infrastructure critical systems or important systems, it is responsibility of a system owner to provide each vendor with the requirements, especially network requirements, that they have to fulfill. We went that way, and we have a huge pushback from some of the companies. They said, but when we signed the contract, this law was not enforced, so it's not in the price, you have to pay more. Okay. And they try to avoid it at all costs. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe some of them will just say that they cannot deliver it because for them it's not comfortable. I think the problem is that no one is asking the vendors to deliver good security solutions. No one is demanding this. These people are not challenged. They say that we have SHA-1 hash, we don't have authentication with OIDC. And everybody, okay, yeah, we will use it anyway. So they don't get pushback, and this is our problem. We need to really tell them what they have to deliver. We shouldn't just approve of a shitty solution that is put on our table by business because these people don't know better. We can explain them how to do it. We can explain what needs to be done. Vendors, it's their responsibility to think about how they need to securely access these devices. I think that in the next 1-2 years, when NIS2 will come into effect in most most countries, then OT vendors will have no choice. They will have to adapt. They will have to provide a different remote solution. And there are possibilities. They can, for example, create an image of a standard management server. Maybe this, what's it called? I forgot the name. Okay, never mind. So an image that you can install in the environment. No, I was thinking about something else, sorry. A container. Easy. Just have a container with all your tools. Provide it to someone. Big companies have container infrastructure, so plug it in. It works in a minute. Why not? They just don't think this way because we accept the risk of them doing things insecurely. That's pretty much it. I really hope for good questions and good discussion now and afterwards and in the evening. These are my details if you want to keep in touch, and this is a donation. My friend Mats suggested that I put up some information about donation here. I'm really concerned with the situation in Ukraine, and if you are concerned too and you are looking for ways to donate and you don't know any better, then these are the good links that I can really promise that I know that where this money goes, and 0% of this money goes for what's called management purposes. So thank you for listening to me.